All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Look, this is one where I really add to this Fiji story of the money, and it's now just starting to become wearing at this point. It's absolutely becoming wearing at this point. It was just announced today, and obviously today is Thursday that I'm recording this. When you hear it, Thursday or Friday or Saturday, whenever you hear it. It looks like there is another Major League Rugby team that is not going to be able to continue due to financial issues. It was announced that the Dallas Jackals, who a team that was just in the playoffs the year before, beat the number one team in the league, the Houston SaberCats, to ultimately lose to Seattle in the playoffs, are no longer able to continue after I think it's only been like 3 years that the team has been in play. They were unable to. Major League Rugby put out this statement saying that the Dallas Jackals have informed the league that they will not participate in the 2025 competition. They are continuing to evaluate a controlling interest transfer, which will not be complete in time for them to plan for and compete in the 2025 Major League Rugby in 2025. Major League Rugby will continue to work with Dallas leadership on a transition plans in the days and weeks ahead. Our focus is on the team, its players, and planning for another successful MLR season in 2025. An announcement about the player dispersal process will be shared soon. So, once again, another set of players are now lost into the wind because they could not keep a team. So, what allowed the creation of RFC LA and the Carolina Anthem is now what also will cost us the New York Ironworkers, the Austin Gilgronis, the Toronto. I forgot Toronto's name. The former LA Guiltinis, Atlanta. The Atlanta Rugby Atlanta. It's literally been every single year. I think a great context to this, as much as the teams and the owners are gung ho, and I really have been trying to buy in more and more that they really, not that they didn't care. I think they obviously cared about the rugby of it all, but the business model of it and the presentation of it. I feel like I thought they would care this year because they had to prove that they can make this work. But the financial issues that come with this league are so high. A great episode to watch is on our guy Matt McCarthy, who I do the show Rugby Odds with, on his platform on the Rugby Wrap Up. He did an episode on his show MLR Weekly, where he talked with the owner, one of the co-owners of the Houston SaberCats. And what the guy had to say was really, was something I think needs to be looked at, and basically why the league is just not able to grow or be consistent or even maintain a factor of better than just barely making it. This is Matt McCarthy talking with Marty Power, co-owner of the Houston SaberCats, about the goals that MLR has been having but unable to fulfill.
Very. And, even today we're very worried, right? Because inflation, costs have skyrocketed and, it's tough and I'm going to call rugby in America as a marginal sport at this point, right?
Sure.
I mean, a lot of our original owners had, grand visions of, we're going to be like MLS, right? MLS got their TV contract in their 7th year. Well, we just finished our 7th year. We haven't got a TV contract yet, right? Soccer in the U.S. has millions of kids playing, tens of millions of kids playing soccer, and rugby probably has 1 million. So we're,
Doesn't even
I
have
was
1 million.
never visions of grandeur. I was said if we can if our franchises can be similar to a successful minor league baseball franchise to start with, I said I think that would be a success, and I still believe that until maybe by 2031 when the World Cup's here, maybe as if rugby grows in the U.S. over the next 5 to 10 years, like World Rugby wants it to, and we want it to, then maybe we get closer to MLS.
Well, you committed to the runway. They talk about that runway of.
So yeah, like that's what I'm talking about. Like they have not achieved the objectives that you needed to be able to be a financially viable league. He went on to talk about like the amount of crowd that they needed to have on average per team per game, which is somewhere like 7,000 in ticket sales per game per team, which is not happening. It's somewhere probably closer to like 4,000, 5,000, somewhere like that. The need for obviously a TV deal to be able to pay for make a revenue, which the MLR pays for its production. I think the guy he said it. Production costs somewhere around like $2 million per year. The league is losing almost $5 million per year to get in. The concepts are really shrinking. We've talked about this in the past multiple times over, but the things that you need to make a move that make professional sports move: TV contract, ticket sales, sponsorships. And while they're getting some minor sponsorships, they're not getting a lot of money back in those sponsorships as well, too, because they don't have the population. They're not doing the platforming. They're not getting the contract. They're not doing anything. And hence, you get a situation where the Dallas Jackals, that are a money draining franchise, as all MLR teams are, have a difficulty of being able to find somebody to buy into it where they can say, hey, the potential for this is really legit. Like Marty tried to say, he thinks that there's maybe a million people who play rugby in the U.S. There's not a million people that play rugby. We saw that whenever Scott Lawrence was talking about the post on his page. There's not even 100,000 people who are playing rugby in total, let alone on the youth side. It was just talked about that maybe in the youth had 70,000 that were playing overall. It's not good. That's very, very far off. So, you get continued this restriction that continues to happen because of the fact that the core tenements are not being met. So instead of just complaining, okay, right, what is the solution? Well, this is why I've always talked about, like, number one, how do you present the game? We talked about the draft a couple weeks ago, and how said it was good that they did it as a pre-recording, but for whatever it's worth, it was a very lackluster presentation because it didn't feel like they put their all into it. And you go like, well, it's just a draft. What does it matter? Well, it creates a story. It creates the excitement. It allows people to start coming to the table. It creates virality moments. It creates means of being able to market without having to force the market to kind of take you in. But they weren't doing that. They haven't been doing that. It goes to what they've been doing on trying to make the championship game even bigger. And obviously, like, they brought in DJ Marshmallow on this last championship, and then they did Shaquille O'Neal on the one prior to, but they did it for the crowd and not for the television spot. They were on Fox, but you're not presenting a show. You are presenting a game. These all affect how people go in to engage the game, and more importantly, how you bring more youth into the game, how you be able to bring in the grassroots lift where you're able to elevate that up. And shout out to my guy Michael Mick Mullins, Michael Feely, because he's always expressed this, that you should be creating product to sell to your constituents and use the revenue generation not just to be able to elevate your brand, but to be able to show that you can be able, that you have an audience that is available to you from these other sponsors, from these other TV deals, and that you utilize your own system to be able to do it. It's more expensive on the upfront, but it clearly works better for you on the back end. 7 years into the MLR, the game on the field has improved. Undeniably has improved, but the business and the production around it has not. And when it all comes down to it, those are the parts that keep your business model up and going, and you don't continue to lose another franchise for another year with the hopes of being able to bring something else. Like World Rugby invested in the anthem for 4 years. Why? So that they could be able to see a production development. Did we think that was a good idea? Some people did. I myself, not the biggest fan of it. I thought that money could probably have gone to grassroots rugby or developing something that is more merchandisable, a more physical product that could be sold. But you're not even selling content at this point. Like, what is it that you're selling outside of just this game? You're not selling a story. You're not selling an experience. You're not selling a product. You're not selling anything to the constituents that feel like it's a necessity. Everything is a luxury. And when things are a luxury, when times are hard, and as Marty said, inflation is up, cost of things are going up, buying power is lower. You don't want to spend on things that you don't care about. And hence, these teams start to lose it. And you lose a market like Dallas, you lost New York, you lost LA for a time period, you're out of Austin, you're now out of Atlanta. 2 of these 3 financial centers, now Dallas, Atlanta, New York, and Dallas are 3 financial epicenters of the United States. Chicago is another one, which thankfully they just put the team in there. LA is another broadcasting market. Everybody knows what goes on with that. And obviously they stuck a team there. But again, what are you doing to develop from the community? You can have the academy, but what does the academy produce? What is the advantage for the academy? Can check out the past episode, but again, I look at Argentina that's been developing where they have academy positions, and then they build around those the communities in the region for their rugby, and that becomes a central polling place, and that becomes the area where they produce and develop their product, their business modeling, their players, their clubs, all that good stuff. So it's oh man, this is just sad news for me. This is sad because I know this Dallas team might have entered in the MLR 3 years ago, but shout out to my guy Phil Camp, who is one of the investors and founders for Women's Elite Rugby. He founded that Dallas team that they basically used that setup almost a decade ago. He was one of the first to bring professional team onto U.S. soil in that sense. But again, the lack of support, the lack of a plan, a viable plan, a possibility to get it to the next level, it's not there. It's just not there. And you're going to continue to see this. You're going to continue to see it in these markets. Now, I think Houston might be a safe place, but watch for New Orleans. Watch for San Diego. San Diego's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. I think they got a lot of poly and Australian and a lot of South Pacific support that resides out there. And so that might be holding them, but how long? What's the cost? How does it work? California is one of the most expensive states. Like, can they maintain that? LARFC, I think they're good at least for the next 2-3 years or so. But even Miami, I think, should be good for the next 2-3 years. They got solid backing. I think the Mercado Libre guys should continue to be able to do that. Plus, I think they're using it again as a dumping spot for their Argentina teams. And with the news that's going on with the rugby championships, I think the investment up there is going to be even that much higher. And what happened with Toronto Blues? Was it the Blues? The Toronto Blues. No, it's not the Toronto Blues. The Arrows, I'm sorry. With what happened with the Toronto Arrows, obviously Arrows are defunct now and their players spread out, but it creates a whole new set of issues. And the other part is maybe the league does need to constrict. It's not really ready for growth, and it needs to have the highest concentration of good players to maximize the highest level of personality building, to allow the greatest amount of story experience and a product to contently sell. Because they're just not selling their content, man. Not selling content well, not selling physical product, not just jerseys, like literally a product that people need. Like every region should, and again, I'm taking this from Mike Feely, man. He's the one that basically taught this. But like a team like, let's say, New Orleans should be producing their own shoe, producing custom rugby gear, producing MLR or New Orleans Gold, not branded, created rugby gear, and selling that to their constituent. Not so much selling it to all Louisiana, all Mississippi, all Arkansas, all East Texas, selling to Georgia, selling to Tennessee. Like they should have this that region in set where they're distributing. Hey, you need rugby gear, you need packaging, whatever it is. Yo, buy from us, purchase from us, and we will supply you with the same gear that we're using. Not branded by Rhino with an MLR logo on it, directly from them. And that would create a different set of basing. And then use that to follow into the youth groups and the communities, develop your academy, develop the resources within that, and go from there. But again, this would have been better off 5 years ago than it is now. But I still say better late than never. The Anthem should be doing this. LA RFC should 100% do this. Utah is basically kind of doing a similar thing. Houston should be doing it. And now that Dallas is gone, you have all of Texas in your hands. All of Texas. If you can't sell, develop, and build out from Texas, I don't know where it can't work anywhere else. It can't. So let me know what you guys' thoughts are on this, man. This is just a little bit more annoying to me. Again, this is Worcester and Wasps and London Irish in the UK. This is the Melbourne Rebels in Australia. Like, it's more professional teams just going defunct off of horrible business plans. Top 14, I'm waiting. Top 14 is a fissure waiting to blow. That is money that is just wasted right there, that they do not have any regard for profit or concept of one. So yeah, and these play into it, all right, into being able to build rugby up. But let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know where you guys feel, what ideas maybe that you even feel you have that might be better for this. You know, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear where you guys are coming from.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
Don't you love a great ketogenic family? My name is Gifte Belu. I'm here with Health Enhanced Food. I wanted to talk to you about one of our top baking mixes, and that is our ketogenic baking mixes. We got our ketogenic seed baking mix, our ketogenic almond baking mix, and of course, our ketogenic coconut baking mix. Now, what is so important about it being ketogenic? Now, for those who don't know, ketogenic means that it is utilizing low carbs to be able to eat from. The point of it is so that your body will naturally activate burning from your fat and be able to sustain off your proteins rather than feeding your body carbohydrates and your body simply burning that and you just don't lose weight. And so whenever you're doing that process, it's incredibly difficult. And of course, you're always going to have a craving for wanting to eat the breads and the carbs that you typically would have. With our keto baking mixes, you can have the pancakes, the waffles, the cookies, the cakes, the pizza crust that you absolutely desire without sacrificing the work, your diet, and obviously the results that you are trying to get. All our ketogenic baking mixes are gluten-free, grain-free, plant-based, and absolutely loaded with natural vitamins and minerals. We want to make sure that they are low net carb, they have no added sugar, they are protein rich, they have good healthy fats,
But even more importantly, they have a
Low
glycemic level. So for those who are diabetic and you're also still trying to find something, we have the baking mixes that are for you. And I'm sure you're wondering, why make 3 versions of them if they all are basically doing the same thing? Well, we wanted to make sure, as always, that we are trying to specialize to your dietary need. So with our ketogenic coconut, we wanted to give you a version that allows you to have a sweeter bread without sacrificing your diet. But it provides you things that you can make with your cakes, you can make your cookies, but you can be able to not have to lose your mind trying to find things that can satiate the taste without ruining your diet. With our ketogenic almond baking mix, that is one that has probably the highest protein content. It allows you to be able to control your blood sugar levels, reduce your blood pressure, lower cholesterol levels, and of course, it goes to promoting weight loss and being able to control the hunger. And for our ketogenic seed, this is for those who have a nut allergy and they can't take anything like the almonds. So we want to give them still the same thing. You can still make your bread, you can still make your pizza crust, you can still make your cakes and your buns and your muffins, but you don't have to worry about having an allergic reaction. You definitely can go check out the ketogenic line of products at healthenhancedfoods.com. Go ahead, keep up with your diet, get the foods that are necessary to keep you going, and let's get the results that you absolutely deserve. Let's go.